Have you seen the story today in the New York Times?
Evidently, the CIA destroyed tapes of interrogations of Al-Qaeda detainees.
I want to find out what was on the tapes and why they were destroyed.
No paper.
Paper is a way of getting people in trouble at our place.
At our place, paper's how we keep track of laws.
Adam, so first of all, I have to say with this movie, it was amazing when I saw it at Sundance, and then when I saw it again recently, so like, congratulations on it, I really loved it.
Thank you very much.
This one you're playing a real life character, and I'm just wondering, how much time did you and Dan spend together, like getting ready for this?
I don't remember how many months or this time span was, but we probably met like a handful of times and talked about, asking questions about the report that I didn't understand. That was the majority of it, me trying to understand what it was in the script, you know, and which parts of the report I should refer to make the script make more sense. And then you kind of like pick little details about a person. You know, I don't have to worry about physically representing him. We're different, and Scott wasn't interested in that so much. He was more, you know, if there's something about that person that opens your imagination, then take it. You know, I've learned to do that when you play real people, and then just disregard the things that don't align with the script or don't align with, you know, your imagination.
That's pretty good. I think I saw y'all on like stage together. I'm like, I could see how like you picked up on some of his stuff. The other thing is, did he tell you anything that you found really surprising, where you were like, this is incredible? It wasn't maybe in the book or the script, but and you were like,
if
what?
he did, I would never say.
Oh, okay.
I don't think. I mean, what's in the book is surprising enough. You know. And even more surprising that people thought it was like a good idea. You know, that a lot of people in key positions of leadership thought it was a good idea. And given that we have a lot of documented fact that it's been a bad idea for so long, that someone would now think that it's a good idea all of a sudden is a shocking.
Watching that part, you get the most frustrated. You're like, stop, just please stop. I will say, like I said, I was at Telluride and I watched you get feted by Martin Scorsese, where he went up on stage and said you were one of the greatest actors of your generation. So I just want to ask you how awesome that is, because I'd be good. I don't want to do anything else now after that happened.
I'm good. I don't want to do anything else now. I mean, you know, he's a person. He's one of my cinematic, you know, heroes. We have nothing in common as far as. How we were raised, you know, or what time you know, but his movies, you know, that's a great democratic thing about movies, is that they, you know, they kind of find an audience in places that don't have access to, you know, meant a lot to me. Working with him meant a lot to me in, you know, long, really boring ways. That moment meant, you know, was, you know, I'm inarticulate about it because it's hard to describe. It was very cool.
A very beautiful moment to watch. And then just kind of wrap it up, you're having a really great 2019. I got to see you at Cannes with Dead Don't Die, which I thought was hilarious.
Oh,
and now you're coming with The Report after it debuted in Sundance. So I'm sorry, started with The Report, then Dead Don't Die. Pretty soon, people are going to get to see what I saw in Marriage Story. And then you just have this little like indie at the end of the year at Star Wars, The Rise of some Jedi thing, right?
Yeah.
So talk about your 2019, man.
It's too much on my face. It's like you make these things. I think we shot Marriage Story almost 2 years ago, and I don't know what the timetable, but Report less than that. That they all happened to kind of come out at the end of the year was. Coincidental, kind of. So it's just it's a lot of talking, a lot of me talking badly about the things. So it's all good.
No.
It's all good though.
Yeah.
The United States does not torture.
Dan, you need to be careful here.
They can't destroy the documents. They can go after the next best thing, you.
First of all, guys, the first thing I want to say is it weird, like, for you knowing that you've got the person who's going to see you play her? Like, I think that would make me be kind of paranoid about it.
Well, I definitely took that very seriously because I felt a responsibility to get that right and to do enough where one could accept that was Senator Feinstein, but not too much. And I felt the focus needed to be on the story, on the events and the facts. And I felt that the narrative was really strong. So I tried to just adhere to that as much as I could.
Do you know if she's gotten to see it, or are you going to invite her to come see it?
I don't know whether she's seen it or not. We want everyone to see it because, I mean, the film is really about what happened.
Yeah.
And she lived it.
Yeah.
And, she was a reluctant participant. This torture was exposed. The fact that the CIA had this secret torture program was exposed in the New York Times. So she did her job as head of the Senate Intelligence Committee. And all of the other committee members voted that they needed to investigate what happened from the beginning. 14-1 they voted on the side of, we've got to find out what this was, because this is against the law. And in the end, that's what happened. In the end, she was able, with Senator McCain, to pass an amendment that reaffirmed that Americans do not torture. We admitted that we did. And then they passed the amendment to just reaffirm that we are committed to admitting it when we break the law, and then reaffirming the fact that it's not going to happen again. So.
Yeah, that's like the only, I guess, if there's a bright side. Something that made me okay with, like, as you're watching at the end and you're like, okay, at least we're going to hopefully learn it for the last time, this lesson. John, I want to talk about you, because you play more of a composite character. Like, you're not just one particular person, is that correct?
No, I play an actual person.
Oh, is this an actual
Dennis
guy?
McDonough was the chief
Okay.
of staff in the first administration, the Obama administration. So he's a real dude, too. He's out there still. He's still talking politics. He's probably still on K Street somewhere. I'm not sure what he does now.
You haven't got to talk to him at all?
No, I didn't get to meet him, but there's plenty of footage available. He was the chief of staff, so there was plenty of interviews and press conferences and whatnot that he was doing. But, part of the tricky part of playing, and I think what the film really does well and what Scott does so well in the script explains that this happened under the Bush administration, but was still alive-ish under the Obama administration. And the Obama administration was tasked with sort of figuring out how to put this fire out, how to clean up this mess. And in doing it in a way that it doesn't look like we're doing it in a partisan way and saying, like, we're blaming all this on you. So the fact that it was secret, the fact that it was deliberately withheld, the fact that they had to come up with this phrase, enhanced interrogation, because they didn't want to call it torture, leads you to believe they knew what they were doing was wrong. So then they had to go out and get somebody to say, well, okay, well, maybe it's not, if we can parse the law in this particular way, all this nonsense. So when everybody knew they were doing something wrong. So my character's job was to say to the head of the FBI, the CIA, the Senate, get everybody and go, all right, we all got to get on the same page. How do we do it? And that's a tricky role to play. We don't have a lot of natural negotiators anymore because everyone's staked their claim, and there's no one in the middle.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's really polarizing.
And hopefully that can remind people that there's room in the middle to meet.
Awesome.
Last night I found this. He's detainee number 24. Have you guys used this thing before?
No, we watched the video.
They waterboarded him 183 times. Everything they got from him was either a lie or something they already had.
If it works, why do you need to do it 183 times?
Maybe when the report comes out, people will finally see that.
Gentlemen, so as I said, this was one of the ones I didn't get at Sundance, but I'm so happy I finally got to see it recently because it's absolutely amazing. It seems like so many times in the movie you're like, I cannot believe they don't understand this. Like, why don't they just stop doing this? And it's so incredulous. Was there any more crazy things that didn't make it into the cut where you're like, I can't film this because no one will believe it?
I mean, I think there were tons of those moments. I mean, if you go through the report itself, it's stunning, right? I mean, it's 525 pages were released. There's 2,700 footnotes in that, and a lot of people just read the text and that's incredible. I can't believe this happened. Then you dive into the footnotes and you find all these other incredible gems. And I think Scott went through the same process by writing the script, right? There's so much you want to include, but only so much time to do it.
Well, what is one that we missed? If there was the bonus features of the report, what is the story that you're like, oh my God, we couldn't do this, but.
After the techniques were suspended by Director Tenet, the CIA went back to Condoleezza Rice and immediately wanted the program reinstated and claimed that there was a threat against our elections that year and that they needed the techniques to use on the specific detainee. And the program was turned back on with the exception of waterboarding. The whole plot was kind of a fabrication. And it just became too much in the movie in terms of the frustration. And Adam played those scenes fantastically, but it felt like it was one beat too many.
Yeah, I mean, I felt pretty beat down by it all, like through this part, so I can only imagine if you added more. I talked to Adam and he said that, Dan, you guys got to have a little bit of time together, like, but tell me about your intermittent meetings, as he said, to like chat about everything.
I mean, well, Adam is great, right? I mean, he's so eloquent about this. He was in the military. He knows that the military has always opposed these techniques, not only because they don't work, but it also puts our troops in danger. And he also really dived into the script and was the type of person who would call and ask questions or reach out and say, tell me more about this piece, give me more context. Even if it wasn't in the script, right? Understanding the larger contextual aspects of where he was and telling the story. And it is a 7-year journey, and it is in 2 hours, and you can kind of see in Adam's face and eyes time elapsing.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah, he looks pretty beat down by the end of it too, like to where you're like, oh good, they finally got it together. Spoiler alert, sorry. Also casting him and Annette and John for this film, I feel it's kind of like a dream team. So talk about kind of assembling that group.
It was an amazing, Avi Kaufman, who was my casting director in New York, read the script and loved it and said, I want to help. And I think one of the interesting things about the moment that we're living in is I think a lot of artists in a lot of different fields are looking for an opportunity to use their voice to tell this kind of story. And the fact that we were shooting in New York made it easier to get a Tim Blake Nelson to come out for 2 days, or Corey Stoll to show up for a day, or Matthew Reese, Jen Morrison, Maura Tierney, Michael C. Hall. And so it was incredible to me that we would ask these people to play relatively small roles, and everyone said yes. And generally it was because they wanted to help tell the story, which for me as a director meant a lot, but also just as a fellow filmmaker to know that there are people who want to do this with their time.